Also joining us today, syndicated radio host and Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall, and our virtual man in the middle of the couch that we really sit on now, Fox and Friends Weekend co-host Will Kane. Thank you all for joining us, and we have a big news day, of course, always, so let's get right to it. Law enforcement is facing growing hostility on the job nationwide. A shocking new video shows a woman unleashing a racist tirade against a Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy, mocking his Hispanic ethnicity and calling him a murderer during a standard traffic stop. All of it captured on his body cam.
The speed limit is 40 and I was going 38, so why are you harassing me?
You're correct. I pulled you over because
you're a murderer.
Because
yes, I started to record because you're a murderer.
You can't be on your cell phone while you're driving.
And can you call your supervisor, please?
I already did. He's on his way.
Good, because you're a murderer. Is that why you're harassing me?
Not harassment.
Yeah.
I am enforcing the law.
I have a right to record the police when they're harassing me.
By all means, but you can't do it while you're driving.
I wasn't texting or none of that.
Do you have that
you
picture?
You scared me and made me think you were going to murder me.
Okay, well, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Well, that's not just a feeling. You're a murderer.
Okay.
You doing this because it's part of your little gang?
Can you zoom in on that for me,
Sure.
Jay? Thank you.
And I'm perfectly legal, and I'm a teacher. So there.
Congratulations.
Murderer. You're a murderer.
What's that? Hold that still for me.
Okay, murderer.
Bring that back up there.
Here you go, murderer. I can't wait to get to you and let know that you're a murdering freak.
Pull that back up for me, ma'am.
Okay, murderer.
What's your last name? I can't see that there.
Well, here you
stop,
go,
stop
murderer.
shaking. Zoom in on that for me,
No,
ma'am.
because you're scaring me.
Oh,
you're threatening to kill me and my son.
He's only citing you for using your cell phone while you're driving. That's it.
There you go, ma'am. Sign inside the red box right there.
For him being a Mexican racist. What is that name? Gasso.
It's on the citation, ma'am.
Here you go, Mexican racist. You're always going to be a Mexican. You'll never be white. You know that, right? You'll never be white, which is what you really want to be.
There you go, dear.
White.
Have a good day.
Leslie.
Well, there are two things here. Although, Will, you and I rarely agree. I agree in front of her son and that she's a teacher and it is horrific. But I'm not going to give her a pass and say she lost her mind. What I think this exemplifies is that some people are very negative and have very negative attitudes toward the police, and that some people in our society are racist, and racism is still sadly alive and well in this nation. Look, what we do know is the overwhelming majority of people in this nation are good and not racist. What we do know is the overwhelming majority of police officers, as President Biden said, and even Maxine Waters stood to her feet and applauded that comment, the majority of police officers are good people. This certainly doesn't make the police officer's job any easier. But before all of this, I'm sure police officers have plenty of stories of people saying terrible things or saying anything they can to get out of a violation if they were in fact guilty, which it seems she was.
Real quickly, Leslie,
Can I jump in?
Yeah, I'm coming to you because I knew you'd have something to say. Why is that?
The president of the United States has repeatedly applauded police officers and said the majority are good.
I know he said that he would abolish ICE and just give him 5 days.
Yes. And as a liberal, and as a person on the left, I would have to say, on January 6th, I saw a lot of people on the right saying and doing very ugly things to police officers. So I think that the anti-police or hatred toward police comes from extreme elements on both sides. It is rooted in hate and rooted in ignorance, and I don't think it is a representation of the majority of either side, left or right.
Are slamming a new CIA recruitment video, calling it woke propaganda that's gone way too far. The promotional video follows an unidentified 36-year-old Latina CIA agent, and it has been criticized for pandering to progressives. Surprise, surprise. That's the CIA, our chief foreign intelligence gathering operation, delving into issues that seem to be quite distant from their central mission. But, you know, I want to right off the bat, instead of giving my opinion, pull up a tweet from CIA officer officer Brian Dean, who responded this way. He took issue with the video. He said this: "The CIA used to be about mission to country. I speak from experience. Now it's about demanding and getting accommodation to fix an emotional wound or advance a personal agenda. America is less safe with this new CIA and dangerously more political." Leslie, what's your response to Officer Dean?
With all due respect, I'm not in the CIA, and I never would be. I would be too chicken, I'll be honest. But, you know, the CIA at one time was all white. The CIA at one time was all male. I really don't have a problem with this video. I don't know about woke. I woke up this morning. I'm not into that woke thing. You can call me James Carville. But when you look at what this is doing, you know, people say know your audience. And I think very clearly the CIA is trying to say targeting women, targeting minorities, people of color, targeting individuals who may say, I can't be in the CIA because I've suffered with depression or I've taken antidepressants. Targeting people who may say, I don't think I could be in the CIA because I'm a single mom. I have kids. I don't know that I can work it out and balance it. So I think this is what it's specifically trying to do, is broaden its a group of people that it can recruit from, and specifically targeting people who might be concerned because they're, you know, the working moms, they have the anxiety, and even more so targeting women and women of color. And I think that's what they're trying to do, and I think it might be effective.
House Republicans are blasting President Biden over his reported plan to send cash payments to Central American countries to stop the root causes of migration. They're calling the strategy naive and accusing the Biden administration of trying to buy its way out of the migrant crisis. This comes as the president just quadrupled his cap on refugees who can enter the country to more than 62,000. Leslie, let's get your response to that, please.
You know, this is a problem that not only is multifaceted, but it's been 17 years in the making. And I don't want to sound like the opposite of Pollyanna, but I think as a realist, there's not one administration or even one 4-year term that's going to solve this problem. And this money alone is not going to solve this problem, and the administration has been clear on that. There was a study by the Center for Global Development that actually shows this conditional way of sending money to these countries actually is better, and specifically better with regard to migration, than the humanitarian aid and the way we have set up and distributed humanitarian aid in the past. Is this going to be a Band-Aid to an issue that needs major reconstructive surgery? No, but this is one of the pieces that this administration and experts have looked at to address things like poverty in these triangle countries, to help individuals in those countries have that offset and have work that will stop them from coming to this country for the carrot that they see as a job in order to have a better life.
President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden dropped in on a Virginia classroom yesterday, and those fifth graders were brutally honest about the shortcomings of remote learning. What they said may help explain why more than half of teachers in a recent national survey reported, quote unquote, significant loss in students' academic learning. And another 44% agreed there was some loss. Watch those students and what they told the president and First Lady.
It was a little difficult with all the glitches, but it ended up being pretty good. I definitely prefer it this way.
I didn't like virtual.
You didn't?
No.
It was terrible.
Like if we were like really tired, then we could, you know, take a little nap. Sometimes when Miss B was like paying attention to something else, you could eat. And
you know, Leslie Marshall is one of the best marketers that I know. I listen to a radio show. And I'm wondering if we should print some T-shirts with books on them that say, fill the gap. And let's all get going on it.
Harris, my kids love you, but they're not going to like the 2 words you said, which are dirty to them, which is summer school.
Summer school. Tell your kids I love them anyway.
Yeah, I have two 13-year-olds who are in school, and I have to tell you that they did suffer with online. So did I, because they were fighting and we're all in the house and I'm trying to do TV and the dog is barking. But my daughter was a straight A student when the online classroom started. She went down to a D. Fortunately, she's back up to an A. But here's the thing. I did not blame who the majority of the lockdown was under, Donald Trump and the Trump administration, nor should Joe Biden be blamed, and this is why. We had a pandemic, and whether you close a school or not is up to to the individual states, and within those states, the individual school district or districts. Here in California, we are hopefully going for day 3, 72 hours in a row without one COVID case. Our kids are now back in school. A lot of people, obviously, with the recall effort, wanted to blame our governor. But at the end of the day, I think we did the right thing. And even though it was frustrating, that is in our rearview mirror. And I agree with Harris, though. Our kids have to be first and foremost. They're not only our life, they're our future.
Facebook's independent oversight board says it will release a decision tomorrow morning on whether to allow former President Trump back on Facebook and Instagram. Trump was suspended following the U.S. Capitol riot in January and has not been allowed to communicate with his tens of millions of followers on there since then. But regardless of the outcome, some Republicans are pushing legislation aimed at reining in big tech's power. Right. And Leslie, do you agree, regardless of the depth and strength of that particular bill that has been suggested, do you see that the moderation in content has been skewed toward especially President Trump?
Well, it's interesting that Kayleigh had said, let's see if they put their money where their mouth is, because it is about money, and that decision tomorrow will be about money. Did they make more money with Donald Trump being on Facebook? Probably, because there are millions of people that follow the former president and that left Facebook once Facebook banned Donald Trump. Look, you don't need Facebook to get on a soapbox and to utilize and exercise your First Amendment right. You can have a blog, you can do this, you can do that, and obviously as a private company, Facebook doesn't need to adhere to the First Amendment via our Constitution. But, you know, I personally like everybody having an opinion. And Kayleigh, no offense to your former boss, I enjoyed the break. But I think from a business perspective, it's probably smart, you know, to have him on there, quite frankly. Although, with regard to the legislation cannot just protect censorship of those on the right. It has to protect censorship of all. Exactly. And will those on the right want to protect those on the left from being censored as well?
Well, this next story does sound like something out of Footloose, but it's real. Just as states and cities across the country are easing COVID restrictions, Washington, D.C.'s Democratic Mayor Muriel Bowser has banned standing and dancing at weddings. What do you do at a wedding? That's like where you can meet your mate. Like, right. That's where you can what are you going to do? You can't show them your skills. You can't stand next to them to talk. Leslie, I know you've got moves, girl.
And you know what? The more I drink, the better they are, and the more you drink, the better they look. And Emily Paisana, my mother's Sicilian, and I'm with you, girl. Listen, you can say have this number of people, only have vaccinated people. Yeah. The wedding party can request that. The venue can ask for that. No dancing at a wedding. Sorry, no dancing. There is no wedding. What about father-daughter dance and the bride and groom's first dance? I don't like this. I love dancing.